What do we know about the vaccine today that we didn't know while we were all testing it in America, taking it? What have we learned now?
What do you mean testing it on America? There were tests before it was released.
9 months is not a long time to test.
No, but it was tested.
Yeah, but 9 months. The average is 30. The average is 5 to 10 years. I mean, 9 months is not enough.
Okay, so you have to say
test.
no. You have to ask. Hold on.
In today's video, Neil deGrasse Tyson absolutely destroys Patrick Bet-David in a heated debate on vaccines and whether people should have a choice to take it or not. PBD thinks people shouldn't have been forced to take the vaccine, especially under the threat of losing their jobs, which seems like a fair point. But Neil has a different perspective. He breaks down why the pandemic wasn't just about personal choice, but about public health, backing it up with solid data. So let's dive in and watch how Neil deGrasse Tyson shuts down Patrick Bet-David in this heated debate.
It was tested in trials. Okay. By the way, I'm not claiming to be the expert on all this. I read all the same things you have, but I'm a scientist, so I read it as a scientist. Okay. There were trials. That's what the point of phase 1, 2, 3 trials are all about. They are tested enough to get data on how to then advise the larger population. Yes, it was tested. For you to say it wasn't tested is a gap between your awareness and understanding how things work and what actually happened. It was tested. If you want it to be tested on millions of people instead of thousands, you can put in for that. You can say, I don't want this unless it's millions. That's okay.
Totally fine with me.
Okay.
I'm okay with that.
That's fine. So based on that, do you say, let's keep testing it while the virus keeps spreading? Okay? Right. So this is the contest between the information you have available to you at that moment and what's going on outside the lab. People are dying. Hospitals are becoming overloaded. So, do you say we have good data on the 1,000? It's not yet at 1 million in case you wanted 1 million. Are you going to say, let's still do it let's wait another 6 months so we get another 1 million in here? Will you do that as a public health professional?
No, I would have said allow the individual to still have a choice that's okay with 1,000 instead of a few million. Leave the person have the choice. Not force him to take it or else you're going to get out of the Marines and you've been doing this for 14 years. Not force him to take it or else you have to quit your job as a nurse.
There's a public health
force versus
there's a
choice.
There's a public health contract that you have signed implicitly as a citizen of a country where in part we depend on each other for health, our wealth, our security, and the like. And that contract is, in the best scientific evidence available at the time, if you do not get vaccinated, you will put other people in this organization at risk, and that organization does not want to take that risk. So you do not have this job anymore if you decline it. So with any public health decision, there has to be a consequence to you not participating in that social contract. Is it your job? In some cases it was. But no, we're not going to have the army bust into your home and force a needle into your shoulder. That's not going to happen.
Neil is absolutely right. The idea that vaccines were rushed is just wrong. mRNA technology has been researched since the 1990s, and scientists had spent decades refining it. So scientists weren't just starting from scratch for the COVID vaccine. And yes, the vaccine got developed fast, but that's because they overlapped trial phases and sped up manufacturing, not because they skipped a bunch of safety checks. And Neil talking about how public health is a social contract also kinda makes sense. If you think about it, just like you can't drink and drive because it puts others at risk, vaccine mandates were about keeping workplaces and communities safe. If someone refuses a vaccine that helps prevent outbreaks in the workplace, that's their choice. But I feel like the company also has the right to not take that risk.
We pretty much did that.
Well, only put your job at risk, yes.
Yeah, 67% of Americans took the COVID. That's force. That's not a choice. That's a lot of force and coercing and pushing going on. But you can't go to the school unless you're vaccinated against mumps. I think that's bullshit.
That's a different country.
Yeah, but
okay, would you want a country?
No, America is supposed to be the one that offers the most freedom. That's what America is supposed to be.
Yeah, okay, so watch.
So for example, if you use that argument, so somebody may say, well, freedom of choice, I want to choose what I want to do with the body. You're right.
What
you
body?
get to,
What body?
if you want to get an abortion. It's your choice.
Your own body. Your own body.
If
Sorry.
you want to get an abortion, get an abortion. If I want to get the vaccine, I get to choose. So you can't force. If I can't force you to get an abortion, you shouldn't be able to force me to
Because
get
it's not about you. It's about people you interact with, and that's the social contract of public health.
We don't even know if the vaccine worked or not at the time.
Yes, that's what the trials are, dude. That's why these trials. Are you missing data out there?
But let me ask you a question. Are we saying only one type of scientists are right?
No, we're saying that the system in place.
The 16,000 that signed that.
No. The system in place to test vaccines. There's an entire system that's in place. That with review boards and all of this,
and the average
that's in place. Now you can say what you can say is, I have a better idea than all these review boards and all these agencies and the CDC. I have a better idea. Here's what you should do, and that would have made everything better. Okay, you can put forth that idea, but what I'm saying is, in a case where you can contaminate someone else, it's not about you. It's about the collective
You're assuming
health.
Pause. If you're enjoying this video so far, please consider hitting that like button and subscribe. It helps out the channel a lot. Patrick Bet-David tries to compare vaccine mandates to personal freedom, like the right to an abortion. But Neil shuts that down real fast. An abortion doesn't spread to other people. A virus does. That's why vaccines have always been required for things like school and healthcare jobs. It's not about control, but more about public health. Just like Neil said a while ago, no one's breaking into your home and forcing a needle into your arm. But if a company doesn't want unvaccinated employees because it's a liability, that's their choice too. Patrick keeps pushing the freedom angle, but what about the freedom of schools and businesses to keep their environment safe? You can't have it both ways.
You're assuming because somebody can take the vaccine, won't get COVID, which, by the way, I don't need to play the clips for you to see it, where everybody said, hey, if you get it, you're not going to get, if you take the vaccine, you're not going to get a Rachel Maddow, Joe Biden. I can give you Fauci. I can give you, and you've seen these clips before. It's not like you've never seen it before.
Yeah, what happened
They were wrong.
Hold on. So, the strain evolved, okay, so that the vaccine that prevented you from catching COVID was tuned to the variant of COVID at the time the vaccine was designed, okay? Over time, there were variants that arose. The vaccine provided partial protection against the new variants, enough to keep you from dying statistically, and to basically keep you out of the hospital, allowing other people with more severe problems to get the hospital attention they required. And so then they would develop a subsequent, the booster and a subsequent mixture of the vaccine. This is what happens every year with a flu shot. They look at how the flu has evolved from one season to the next. And what's fortunate is Australia tends to get the variant of flu before we do, because they get their winter in our summer. And then, so we study that, have a forward projection for it. So these annual flu shots are precisely out of the same idea of how this occurs.
How long have those been tested, though? For years. COVID vaccine hasn't been tested for it. It was something we just came out. But let me.
I don't know what point you're making, other than it was tested. You might
9 months is not enough.
You might prefer. No, it's not a matter of time. It's a matter of how many. Yes, time matters, but the number of people is paramount. That's the most important thing. Okay, you don't test it on 10 people. You test it on as many people as you can.
Sure.
I think it was thousands, but
is it fair to say that some of the side effects we may not know for 5, 10, 15, 20 years? You can't, they can't say we know 100% the side effects 10 years from now. How are you going to know that?
Yeah. Okay. So no, of course we can't know.
So
that.
then all I'm saying is,
watch. We can't know that.
Okay.
But watch. So I have a whole chapter called Risk and Reward in the book, which tries to sensitize people to, when they make a decision, what kind of risk are they absorbing relative to what they're rejecting, okay? And we're not very good at that, at probability and statistics or analyzing it. That's why TV commercials trying to sell you a product don't just show you data. They show a person speaking of the effectiveness of the product. A single person. I lost 50 pounds. The testimony of an individual should be irrelevant to you relative to the entire set of people who have done it. And you want to look at those statistics, but we're not good at that. And advertisers know that. So they show the testimony of an individual, which is hugely potent in a civilization where we don't think statistically, we think about eyewitness testimony on something. And somehow that is raised to a very high level of influence on our decisions. What I'm saying is, you're not your decision point is not, I'm not going to take the virus because 5 years, 10 years, I don't know what effect it's going to have.
Some may, though. Some may not be comfortable.
Let me finish the sentence. Okay. So you can say, I don't want to take the virus because 5 or 10 years from now, there could be a side effect that we don't see.
Which is a possibility.
Hold on. I'm trying to make a statistical point here, okay? If you say, I don't want to take the virus because it hasn't been tested for 5 years and there could be some long-term side effect that worries me, okay? In that same moment, there's the risk factor of you getting COVID.
Sure.
Okay? Unvaccinated. At one point, 87% of everyone dying in the hospital of COVID was unvaccinated. Okay. So your risk choice is, I'm not going to take it because maybe somewhere down the line something will happen and we don't know what that is, or I will risk getting COVID. And if I get COVID, depending on your age and other things, there's a 3% chance of me dying in the hospital. That's your choice.
PBD claims that vaccines didn't stop the virus from spreading, but that's just a bit misleading. Viruses can evolve and mutate. The original vaccine was tuned for the early strain of COVID, but as the virus mutated, the vaccine wasn't as effective as before, but it still provided partial protection. PBD also brought up how we don't know the long-term effects of the vaccine, which is a pretty fair concern, but studies have shown that long-term side effects from vaccines are extremely rare. The vaccine doesn't even stay in your body, only your immune system's memory does. And if there were going to be serious side effects, they'd show up within weeks or months, not years down the line. But that's it for today's video. If you've enjoyed it, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comment section down below.